Hey team, welcome. I'm Sean Haverson, your lead instructor for the Human Systems course. Although we're not meeting in person, I did want to drop in and say hi, give you a little bit of an orientation to the course, and get you started in your first week. The Human Systems course for your program is fully online, meaning there are no mandatory in-person or Zoom days that we will be meeting. Because partly this is a course built around your schedule, like our labs are built around your schedule, we don't necessarily have any in-person dates that you're required to attend, but that doesn't mean that you're left to just the course online. You can always request some time with me, whether that's a time that we meet as a group or individually for office hours. I do have flexibility on most days of the week that I might be able to meet with you. I do teach other classes in person though, but most days I do have some time we can probably find to touch base if we need to. We can do that in person in my office if I'm on campus, or we can do that over the phone or on Zoom. So we've got a couple different options there. So reach out if you need any assistance getting started, if you have any questions about the content, or you just need some help getting arranged. The Human Systems course starts today. This is Monday, January 10th. The course is not self-paced. That's an important thing for you to know. And we cover what we would normally cover in a 12 or 14-week class. We're covering that in 6 weeks. So be prepared to spend a lot of time on this course. It is one of the harder courses you're taking probably this semester, or rather, in your first term, I should say. We'll have other classes I'll see you for in your term 2, technically during this semester that start up next month. But Human Systems is going to be a difficult course and take a lot of your time. Now, first thing to know is that this is not a typical anatomy and physiology course. Although the content we cover would be covered by taking 3 other courses traditionally. So if you've taken A&P, to cover all the information mostly that we're going to cover, you would have to take Anatomy 1, Anatomy 2, Pathophysiology 1 and 2, and the labs for all those classes to get the same equivalent. Like, that's what's required if you wanted to not take my class. We don't cover everything that's in those classes, obviously, but we do cover content from a variety of the human body and pathophysiology sections, and we do so in this class specifically with an eye towards what a paramedic needs to know and use in the field. So you'll find that this is probably different even if you have taken anatomy and physiology classes, because we include pathophysiology, we include diseases, and a little special thing, you get an introduction this semester, or rather with this class, to intubation, to prepare you for your term 2 classes, which start with intubation basically right off the bat. All right, so in the class, the format is that you'll log in weekly, multiple times a week. You have modules according to a schedule that you'll have to complete, and in each module, there's usually 1 or 2 lessons within the module. They'll be titled things like Module 1, Lesson 1, Module 1, Lesson 2, and so on. Now, the lessons are broken up mostly by body section. So we have a module that covers the nervous system, and the lessons inside of it cover the peripheral nervous system, the central nervous system, and then sub portions within each of those. In each of the lessons, you'll find that there's a variety of resources and assignments as well. The core portion of each lesson is going to be a module that you'll open that is kind of interactive, and that's where you'll find the lecture videos. And it's designed so that you'll go through some information, watch the portion of the video, and then complete some quick assignments or have additional information to review. After you're done reviewing that, you'll want to make sure that you complete the reading from the chapters. Our reading is almost exclusively, with very few exceptions, going to be from the Human Body textbook. So that's separate from your paramedic textbook. The Human Body textbook is an important textbook and gives us much more detail than the paramedic textbook does for A&P for our level here at CNM. So as you're going through, you'll complete your reading, you'll complete the PowerPoints, the lectures, and then you'll have weekly assignments and quizzes to complete. The assignments and quizzes are broken down by lesson, and the quizzes, since you have a few of them inside of a module, one for Module 1, Lesson 1, for example, another quiz for Module 1, Lesson 2, those quizzes don't have a ton of questions within them, but they're open for you to take multiple attempts. Now, you might have noticed the due dates are a little bit different than you may have experienced in, say, your EMT basic class. For my due dates, I try to give you as much flexibility as I can. Certainly, it's not a self-paced class, so I can't let you turn everything in at the end, and I do need you to try and stay on our weekly topics. But you'll notice that most of the due dates are set so that they coincide with the exam that those quizzes and assignments are preparing you for. So, for example, for exam number 1, Module 1, Lesson 1 is one of the modules that's on that exam. The exam has a due date that is the same due date as all the quizzes and assignments for the assignment in Module 1, Lesson 1, and all the assignments and quizzes that are part of that exam. Now, technically, that means that you have fewer due dates throughout the term, so hopefully that helps you. But I'd like you to consider those for your quizzes and assignments as your final due date. Those aren't the dates that you should submit everything and do it on, because that would mean you do everything for the entire block of information, which is multiple lessons, right before you take the exam. That's a very bad strategy, and you probably won't pass the exams if that's what you're doing. So instead, although the due date, the last day to submit your work, will be the date that's coinciding with the exam, I do want you to submit your work and complete it as you work on it in the weekly schedule. So for week 1, one of the things we're completing is Module 1, Lesson 1. So although that's not due until your first exam, the quiz and assignment in Module 1, Lesson 1, I'd like you to do this week. Now, it's open for you so that you do have some flexibility. This is a very difficult class. You got a lot going on, and almost all of you, I believe, are working probably close to full-time, and I understand that. So you have it so that if, say, this week it's just too much for you to get done, if you needed to, instead of submitting it on Sundays, which you're probably used to, if you needed to submit your assignments on Monday or Tuesday of next week, there wouldn't be any penalty because the final deadline won't be until the first exam is due. However, I don't want you to stack all these up right before the exam, because that'll definitely mean that you're crunching information and you're not giving yourself time to understand the stuff that we're presenting to you. So try to make your own schedule. Very strongly encourage that you make your own weekly schedule. You write down the things that are due on your schedule in your week. So Module 1, Lesson 1, you should put down the assignment and the quiz as being due that specific week, week 1, and then try and get it done. Now, the last chance to submit, if you miss that deadline, will be right before the exam. But again, don't let everything stack up. So build your own schedule, stay on track every week. But again, the other benefit is you could take the quizzes multiple attempts, and you could save some of those attempts for right before you take the exam. But again, those shouldn't be the first time you're taking those quizzes. You should be doing them every week, even though their due date isn't necessarily written that way. Okay, there's some information in the schedule that helps reiterate what I just mentioned. Your schedule is really up to you, and is part of being a successful paramedic student is building your own schedule, especially around your work schedule, since that's what we're trying to accommodate, so that you know when things are due for you and not necessarily just our deadline. If you get stuff done early, there's no penalty. And again, if you are planning to get everything done early on your own schedule and you need a day or two flexibility, it's already built into my class and program. You'll find that my other classes are actually like that, but every instructor is a little bit different in how they approach their information. All right, when you start the class, you're going to log into Brightspace and you're going to click on the Human Systems course. And when you land on that course, you want to go to Course Content, and the first page you'll land on after you go to Course Content will show you the syllabus. Please make sure you review the syllabus, and then from there move to the Start Here module. That's basically where you're going to start the course. The Start Here module has some updated information for this term. The information that's in there will include the syllabus again, just so it's very clear where you can find it and you need to review it. But it'll also include some other resources. The Start Here module is something that you need to complete before you start the graded work, which is in Module 1. And Module 1 won't necessarily open until you complete the syllabus quiz, which is in the Start Here. So the Start Here you need to go through. In the Start Here module, you'll find our schedule, information on grading, our syllabus, links to other resources like the C&M online resources for students. Those are resources that you could use, say, not necessarily particular to my class, but if you're having a hard time figuring out how Brightspace works in general, that's a great resource for you to review. And you can always come back here to the Start Here menu later in the middle of the term if you need to, so that you can access those resources again. Also included are going to be links to other resources that you'll want to reference this term. After you've completed the Start Here module, you'll complete a syllabus contract and quiz, and getting 100% on the syllabus contract and quiz by the due date, which, just so you know, and make sure you look at the schedule, is due this Thursday. Not necessarily on the rest of the timeline. The syllabus is due this Thursday, so I make sure you get it done and open up the modules you need to complete to do your graded work. After the syllabus is done and has 100%, Module 1 will open, and within Module 1 you'll find Module 1 Lesson 1 and Module 1 Lesson 2 resources. Go ahead and jump right on those. Don't wait for anything else. Once you have gained access to them, at least jump in and get an orientation to all the materials that are there. Now you'll find that there are optional materials, and those materials say optional somewhere in the folder or in the title name to make it very clear that these are things that you can do but are not graded. Now those optional resources in the first module, I think it's Module 1, Lesson 1, and Lesson 2 both have these resources. Those resources are generally short videos that review some concepts that you probably got in your prerequisites at some point before taking this class. They're generally going to be concepts associated with biology and chemistry, and most of the videos are 5 minutes or no more than 10 minutes in length, and they quickly review concepts that may be helpful to you. Even if you feel like you're pretty strong in anatomy and physiology or biology and chemistry, just go through all of those resources and look at the titles and then pick the ones that you think you'll need to review. I've hand selected them. None of those are extra things that we don't need. I've hand selected only the ones that are relevant to the material that we're taking. So by reviewing them, you'll make sure you have some base knowledge that you can get started with in all the rest of the paramedic anatomy and physiology topics that we'll cover. You can also come back and visit those topics later if you need to, but in our first module, we're going to be reviewing the very basics of biology and chemistry that we need for this class. And again, it's kind of slanted with the focus to what a paramedic needs to know to be able to appreciate the knowledge that we're going to present to you for the rest of the term and use this information in the field. All the optional information you can go through at any time, as mentioned, and then you'll move through to the non-optional and required information. In the first module, you'll find that you have some assignments as homework, and you have quizzes that you'll need to complete. The homework assignments you're going to upload in the homework tool. That's all in Brightspace. You don't have to turn anything into me physically. Those assignments are designed so that they'll help prepare you and guide you through your reading and your PowerPoints and your lectures to gather important information that will be on the exam. Now let's talk about our exams. The exams that we have in this class are going to cover all of the content that we need in our block exams, so that our final exam only covers the content that was basically on our previous exams. That's to say that between exam 4 and the final exam, or whatever the last exam is in the class, between that and the final exam, there's not going to be any new information. So the final exam basically assesses you on your knowledge from the previous other exams. All of your exams are going to have a mix of question types in them, including multiple choice, fill in the blanks, and pictures with questions associated with them that you'll have to identify anatomy with. How do you prepare for the exams? Well, preparing for the exams really comes from doing the module work in every module. If you do the work in every module before and make your way through weekly on the schedule before you take the exam, you'll have seen the information that you need. The information on the exams is built from your reading, your lectures and PowerPoints, assignments, and quizzes. When preparing to take the exam, let's say you've done all of your module work, you've done your reading, you've done the homework, and you've done the quizzes, even if you don't need to take any more quiz attempts, you should review your previous quiz attempts to see questions that may be on the exam, and review your homework assignments. The homework assignments are represented on the exam as well as the quizzes. But a caution, taking the quizzes by themselves will not give you enough information to complete the exam, because the exam is not based only on the quizzes. The quizzes are only a portion of what the exams come from. Now, studying your quizzes is a good strategy, but shouldn't be its only strategy. Studying your quizzes will help you identify the way questions are asked, and certainly you'll see some questions that you saw on your attempts on your quizzes in the exams as well. You want to take as many quiz attempts as you can, not just so that you can earn the highest grade, which is the only one that I'll put into the grade book by the due date, but also so that you can see the database of questions that we select from to put onto the exam as well. So the more questions that you complete and more attempts on your quizzes that you complete, the more questions that you have a chance to see before you take your exams. Your exams are going to be taken online like your quizzes using some software called the Respondus Lockdown Browser. In order to take your exams, you'll need to use a web camera, a microphone, and your own computer. We will not be taking the exams in a CNM computer lab. You'll have to make those arrangements on your own. The exams will be open for 1 week. During that 1 week, you can take the attempt 24 hours a day before the due date. You get one attempt on your exams, and the exams you won't be able to see how you performed on immediately afterwards, nor the questions. Those should be locked out from you. But if you want to review your exams and see how you did aside from what your grade is, you should schedule some office hours with me and we can review your exams together. I don't publish the exams because we need to keep them confidential so that we don't have to keep rewriting exam questions, and we can make sure that the exams are performing as they should and giving you a fair chance at passing the course as long as you do the things that you're required to do. The final exam is comprehensive and covers information from the entire course at the end of the term. The final exam will also be provided for you online, and you'll take that exam using Respondus Lockdown Browser with a webcam and a microphone as well. Please make sure you review the syllabus on the uses of the class and also the EMS and HWPS student handbooks, because those are the policies that you're to abide by. You're also going to be abiding by the CNM Student Code of Conduct. Now, the Code of Conduct you basically accepted by registering and taking classes here at CNM, as well as the HWPS student handbook. Same thing's true for the EMS student handbook, but you'll be asked to acknowledge that you've completed reviewing the EMS student handbook when you complete my syllabus quiz for Human Systems this week. All right, so some things to keep in mind. Let me give you some dates because I'm giving this for your class specifically. Your first due dates, let me pull up and make sure you have them before I let you go, and we'll get started. So what do you need to get done this week? Well, you got a lot to do. So within the first few days of this week, I'd recommend you jump onto the class, Human Systems, EMS 2103 in Brightspace. Excuse me, get that camera here. All right, after jumping in, make sure you review the syllabus, the handbooks, and the resources in the Start Here section. You'll also find the schedule there as well. All right, your syllabus acknowledgement is due January 13th by midnight. It's not very difficult, but you can't see the other material until you complete that acknowledgement. So you'll want to do that so you can access your online material as soon as possible. I wouldn't recommend you wait until Thursday to get that done. That's something you should plan to get done on Monday or Tuesday of this week. Also this week, you'll need to make a discussion post. We only really have one discussion for this term in this class because you'll be so busy doing other things, but this will be an introduction discussion because I haven't met you necessarily yet, and you won't necessarily see all of your classmates when you're in your scheduled labs. The way this introduction discussion will work is you need to post one introduction post about yourself, and there's a list of things that you need to include it in Brightspace. That posting needs to be done, by Thursday of this week. And then by Tuesday of next week, you need to make sure you reply to 2 classmates' posts. So your initial post due by Thursday this week, by midnight, and then replying to 2 other students by next Tuesday. All right, that's the discussion post. That can be found in the Start Here module as well. Okay, once you've completed the discussion post and the syllabus quiz, you can then move on to Module 1. Module 1 has 2 lessons within it, Lesson 1 and Lesson 2. And within those are a homework assignment and a quiz. So you'll have one homework assignment for Lesson 1, one homework assignment for Lesson 2, one quiz for Lesson 1, and one quiz for Lesson 2. And your lesson quizzes are due for that module. You'll see it in the schedule, so I'm just kind of giving you a heads up here. Your quiz will be due January 24th, as well as your homework assignment tool. But again, I recommend you do the quizzes and the homework this week, not waiting until the 24th, although you can take multiple attempts on the quiz all the way through to January 24th. Make sure you're getting that stuff done when you review the content and when you're doing your learning. That way you don't fall behind. All right, how do you contact me? Email is the best way to contact me. In the syllabus, I outline a way that you can make sure that you get to the top of my inbox because I teach multiple classes here at the college, and certainly we get tons of emails from other stuff as well. So email is the best route to contact me. If you email me and you want to request a time to meet, happy to meet. Just give me a couple times and dates that you're available to meet this week, and we can do a Zoom meeting to just get one-on-one and help you get started in the class. I'll also send, as mentioned earlier, an email that asks you for your availability. If we were to have an optional drop-in session every week, what time would work for most people, and I'll put that on my schedule and send Zoom links out so you can just drop in and attend. But again, those will be optional. There are no required face-to-face or live meetings this term because our course is online. All right, well, hopefully I will be meeting you soon and get to know all of you throughout this course. Again, this is a difficult course. There's a lot of work to get done, and some folks may have a bigger learning curve than others. So make sure you're planning to get work done as soon as the class opens this week, and make a priority to make a schedule and not fall behind. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and good luck. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe.